Hello students, in this lecture we'll study about moving charges and magnetism in the form of revision, questions and answers. As you all know that the syllabus for class 12 physics has been revised due to pandemic for the year 2020 and 21. Major portion of this chapter number 4 has been retained. Only deleted portion is on topic cyclotron. There will be 10 marks questions in this chapter. As per the marking scheme given by Pew Education Board, there will be 2 marks questions, 3 marks questions and 5 mark questions. Most probably 1 mark questions will not be there. However, in this lecture we have discussed all types of questions including multiple choice questions, completion type questions and matching type questions. Please note down all these topics meticulously and make your own notes. Let us start. 1 mark question. Question number 1. Who concluded that moving charges or current produces magnetic field in the surrounding surface? Answer. Christian Oersted. Question number 2. Mention the expression for magnetic force experienced by moving charge. The force is given by F is equal to QVB sin theta. Question number 3. In a certain arrangement, proton does not get deflected while passing through a magnetic field region. Under what condition is it possible? It is possible if proton enters magnetic field along the field direction. Question number 4. What is the trajectory of charged particle moving perpendicular to the direction of uniform magnetic field? Answer. Circle. The trajectory of a charged particle is a circle. Question number 5. What is the significance of velocity selector? Answer. Velocity selector is used in accelerators to select charged particles of particular velocity out of a beam containing charges moving with different speeds. Question number 6. Which one of the following will be described the smallest circle when projected with same velocity v perpendicular to magnetic field V? Number 1, alpha particle. Number 2, beta particle. Answer. Alpha particle. Question number 7. What is solenoid? Answer. Solenoids consist of a long insulated wire wound in the form of a helix where neighboring turns are closely spaced. Question number 8. What is toroid? Answer. This is a hollow circular ring on which large number of turns of wires are closely wound. Question number 9. What is ideal toroid? Answer. The ideal toroid is one in which coils are circular. Question number 10. Define magnetic dipole moment of a current loop. Answer. The magnetic moment of a current loop is defined as the product of current I and the area vector of the loop. Question number 11. What is the value of Bohr magnetron? Answer: 9.27 into 10 to the power of minus 27. Define current sensitivity of a galvanometer. Answer: it is defined as deflection per unit current of moving coil galvanometer. That is, the deflection is phi and current is I. So current sensitivity is phi by I. Question number 13. An ammeter and milliammeter are converted from a galvanometer. Out of the two, which current measuring instrument has higher resistance? Answer: higher is the range, lower will be the value of shunt. So milliammeter will have the higher resistance. Two more questions. Mention the expression for Lorentz force. Answer: in the presence of both electric field ER and magnetic field BR, a point charge Q is moving with a velocity V. Then the total force on the charge is Lorentz force, and it is given by F is equal to Q into vector E plus cross product of vector V and vector B. That is, F is equal to Q into E plus V cross B, where V is the velocity and B is the magnetic field, E is the electric field. That is given by two components, that is force due to electric field plus force due to magnetic field. F magnetic, force due to magnetic, is given by equals Q into V cross B. That is given by QVB sin theta into n hat. N hat is a unit vector. This force was given first by H.A. Lorentz based on the extensive experiment of Ampere and others. It is called Lorentz force. Magnetic force depends on charge Q, velocity V, and magnetic field B. Force on a negative charge is opposite to that on a positive charge. The magnetic force Q into V cross B includes a vector product of velocity and magnetic field. The force F acts in a direction perpendicular to both velocity and magnetic field. Question number 2. Show that cross electric and magnetic field serves as a velocity selector E by B. Answer. Suppose we consider a charged particle Q moving with a velocity V in presence of both electric and magnetic field, which experiences a force given by the equation F is equal to F electric plus F magnetic. Please see the figure here. In V, this is velocity is along the x-axis. E is at 90 degrees, that is along the y-axis. That is Fe, force is perpendicular to this velocity. And the vector B, that is the magnetic field, is perpendicular to both velocity as well as electric field Fe. This is shown here along the z-axis. So there are three axes, x, y and z. V is along x, E is along y and B is along z. All these quantities are perpendicular to each other. That is, the force is given by QE. QE is due to electric field electric force, and QVB is magnetic, assuming theta is 90 degrees. If E is perpendicular to B as shown in the diagram, then F is equal to, within brackets, QE minus QVB. That is, FB is downwards. So FB is downward, then the sign of magnetic field is minus QVB. Suppose we adjust values of E and B such that QE is equal to QVB, then E is equal to VB. Therefore, our velocity V will be equal to E by B. Therefore, this is the chosen velocity under which the charged particles move undeflected through the fields. The ratio E by B is called the velocity selector. Note, E by B is independent of the charge and the mass of the particle under motion. So, you please note, this is a very important part. State and explain Ampere's circuital law. Answer. It is said that the line integral of magnetic induction over closed loop in a magnetic field is equal to mu naught times the total current passing through the closed circuit path. See, integral, that is a circular, it is a closed circuit path. B is the magnetic field into dl. dl is a small elemental length carrying a current. So B dot dl is equal to mu naught I. This is Ampere's circuital law. If you remember that, this will be more than sufficient. Integral closed circuit path B dot dl vectorial dot product is equal to mu naught I. Therefore, B is the magnetic field, dl is a small current element. So, mu naught is the absolute permeability of free space, and I is the field current, is the current. See, mu naught here is the permeability of free space. Please see the figure here. I is the current is carried, and this is a circuital path. So the line integral of magnetic induced, this is a closed loop. This is the direction of a field. The line integral in this equation is evaluated around a closed loop. This loop is called the Amperean loop, and this is I is the conductor O at the origin, which is at a distance dl. dl is the elemental length. It's a small elemental length, and mu naught is the permeability. The current I is the net current encircled by the loop of any size and shape. Current I is the net current encircled by a loop of any size and shape. Relation is independent of distance from the conductor. You see here there is no parameter and no factor related to R. R is the radius of the circle. So it is independent of R. Proof. Now let us prove. So integral B dot dl, B is the magnetic field which is perpendicular to and which is tangential to dl. Therefore, B dot dl or integral BL, simplifying the dot product B dot dl, we get B dot dl cos 0. Therefore, B integral dl, but dl is 2 pi r, that is the circumference of the circle. Therefore, B is mu naught I over 2 pi r into 2 pi r. So, this 2 pi r gets cancelled, and the remaining part is B dot dl is equal to mu naught I. Hence the proof. Question number 5. Mention the expression for angular deflection produced in a moving coil galvanometer. Answer. The galvanometer consists of a coil with many turns free to rotate about a fixed axis in a uniform radial magnetic field. There is a cylindrical soft iron core which makes the field radial and increases the strength of magnetic field. When a current I flows through the coil, a torque tau equals to NIB tends to rotate the coil, where tau is the torque, N is the number of turns, I is the current, A is the cross-sectional area, and B is the magnetic field. A spring SP provides a counter torque K phi that balances the torque NIAB, resulting in a steady angular deflection which is proportional to the current I and given by the equation phi is equal to NAB into I. That is, this NAB by K is a constant. All are constant. Number of turns are constant. Area of cross section is constant and flux density is also constant. Therefore, phi is proportional to I. Now, 3 marks questions. Derive the expression for a magnetic force in a current carrying conductor. Answer. Consider a rod of uniform cross-sectional area A and length L. Let N be the number of charge carriers in the conductor. Then the total number of mobile charge carriers in it is N into I into A. For a steady current I in the conductor rod, there will be average drift velocity Vd. In the presence of magnetic field B, the force on these carriers is given by F is equal to NIA, that is the charge, into Q, Vd cross B. This is the cross product of drift velocity and magnetic field. Therefore, this is given by, if we take out A, NIQ is, that is NQ into Vd, drift velocity is J. Therefore, this becomes, put NQ Vd equals J into A into L into cross B. Therefore, force becomes I, current I, into L into cross B, because I is equal to J into A. That is, we have studied in the first chapter about the current density. Current I is equal to I by A. Current per cross-sectional area is equal to current density. That is, current per unit area is current density. So direction of I is same, direction of L is same as I. So we have expressions for magnetic force in 3 different forms. That is, force due to magnetic F is equal to I into L cross B. That is one form. Vectorial product, cross product. Then this is also given as summation of the products. That is, F is equal to sigma summation I L in the J, that is the direction vector, cross B. That is also can be written as, removing all the vectorial multiplications, we can write F is equal to BIL sin theta. These are the 3 different forms, expressions of magnetic force in a current carrying conductor. Question number 2. Obtain the expression for radius of a circular path traversed by a charge in the magnetic field. See this is a, in this, please see the figure. This is a magnetic field B. See, these crosses are going into the, that magnetic field is perpendicular to the surface of the paper. So that's why it is given as cross marks, into marks. Okay. Consider motion of a charged particle. Charged particle is a Q. It is moving in a uniform magnetic field indicated by this cross product, where the velocity is perpendicular to the B, that is magnetic field. The force Q, V cross B, acts as a centripetal force. This is the force, this is the velocity and centripetal force, and produces a circular motion. The circular motion of this charged particle is due to centripetal force. Hence, the path is circular. By applying Newton's second law of circular motion, we get this force Q into V into B equals, that is due to magnetic force, is equal to mv square by r, where r is the radius of the circle. This r, you see, this is the r is the radius of the circle here. So it is a centripetal force mv square by r. Therefore, the radius is given by r is equal to, r you take cross product left side, r is equal to mv square, v, 1v gets cancelled with v gets cancelled. So remaining part is mv divided by this q into b. This is the expression for radius of circular path. So QVB is equal to mv square by r. This term r we can write r is equal to mv by qb. State and explain Biot-Savart's law. Answer. Biot-Savart's law states that magnetic field dB, the dB represents a small magnetic field, due to a small current carrying element of length dl carrying a current I, is directly proportional to strength of the current, perpendicular length of conductor, and inversely proportional to the square of the distance from the current element to the point where magnetic field is to be determined. So current I is directly proportional to the current I, and perpendicular length of conductor dl, and inversely proportional to the square of the distance. Inversely, that is divided by. This is Biot-Savart law. See here, please see the figure. In this figure, dl is a small elemental length carrying a current I. Current I is flowing upwards in this direction through this wire. Okay, and here for the analysis purposes, we are considering a small length of the conductor dl, and our observation point P is located at a distance r from this length of the conductor, which is inclined at an angle theta. And if we angle theta, and if we analyze trigonometrical ratio, this length will be dl sin theta. Perpendicular to this length is dl sin theta. So the Biot-Savart law says dB, that is magnetic field, is proportional to the current I, first part, current I, and dB is also proportional to dl sin theta. dB is also proportional to dl sin theta, and dB is inversely proportional to r square. R square is here. So there are three things in this Biot-Savart law, you please remember. magnetic field density dB is proportional to the current I, and dB is also proportional to dl sin theta, that is the perpendicular to the length, as well as the third point is dB is inversely proportional to r square, that is dB is proportional to 1 by r square. In the vector form, dB can be written as vector dB is equal to this, all removing the proportionality and substituting, we get, and combining all these three, dB is equal to mu naught over 4 pi, which is a constant of proportionality, into I. I is this part, and dl sin theta is this part, and r cube. R cube, if we evaluate this, r square in terms and substitute for sin theta, we get vector r divided by r cube. This r cube becomes, r cube is due to evaluation of this sin theta. This is Biot-Savart's law. Therefore, mod dB is equal to mu naught over 4 pi IDL sin theta r square. See here, because sin theta is present, when sin theta is present, the denominator is r square. If you remove that and you retain a cross product, it becomes r cube, where r is the vector. Mu naught is called the permeability constant of free space, and its value is 4 pi into 10 to the power of minus 7 Tesla meters per ampere. That is equal to 1.26 into 10 to the power of minus 6 Tesla meters per ampere. Normally, mu naught, you have to remember the value of mu naught as 4 pi into 10 to the power of minus 7. This will help you in calculating the problems. Theta is the angle between the direction of current and R. SI unit of magnetic field is Webers per meter square or Tesla. CGS unit of magnetic field is Gauss. 1 Gauss is equal to 10 to the power of minus 4 Tesla. You please remember this. The direction of magnetic field is that of ideal cross R. So R is here and ideal will be here. So it will be perpendicular to the cross product, means perpendicular to both. Question number 4. Using Ampere's circuital law, obtain an expression for magnetic field due to infinitely long straight current carrying conductor. So in this question, we are required to obtain an expression. Obtain an expression for the magnetic field in terms of current carrying wire. Consider an infinitely long conductor carrying current. You see, this is a long conductor. This perpendicular thing is a long conductor. Let IE be the current enclosed by the loop. The current enclosed by the loop is IE in this loop. That is the circular path. There is a current IE, and L be the length of loop. That is the total length of loop is L, for which B is tangential. B, the direction of B, please see here, is tangential. So this you have to remember. B is always tangential to this loop. Then the Ampere circuital law says B dot dl, the length is equal to mu naught is permeability, into IE. So B into L, that is the integration, B into L is equal to mu naught I. Therefore, if you assume a straight conductor, and the boundary of surface around the conductor as a circle, please underline circle. This is the circle and this is a straight conductor. Then the length of boundary is circumference. This circumference is the radius, if you take, is 2 pi r. That is L is equal to 2 pi r, where r is the radius of this circle. R is the radius of this circle. Then B into L here is 2 pi r. L is equal to 2 pi r. This is, therefore B into 2 pi r is equal to mu naught I. Mu naught I. This is the expression for magnetic field. So if you bring this 2 pi r in the denominator, this B written on the left side, mu naught I over 2 pi r. This is the equation. Okay. So this is a simple thing for a 2 or 3 mark. Write an expression, derive an expression for a magnetic field on the axis of a circular loop current. Circular current loop. Derivation. This is a derivation. Magnetic field due to a circular loop point is given by, this is a circular loop of length L or consider a small element dl. So r is the radius of circle, capital R is the radius of circle, and a point is located at a distance x. This is x. Please see, this is x. P is located at a distance x and r is the radius of circle. By analyzing geometrically, we know this hypotenuse is equal to square root of r square plus x square. And due to this current element, there will be a magnetic field dB. dB will come across like this, and this will have two components. The upper parts will have two components. We can resolve this vector into two, dB cos theta along y-axis and dB sin theta along the x-axis. Similarly, there will be another element dl at the bottom, which will have a component dB, and its components will be dB cos theta pointing downwards and dB sin theta towards the right. So these vertical components pointing upwards and the vertical component pointing downwards will cancel out, and there will be 2 dB sin phi. Sorry, I was telling theta, it is phi. Phi is the angle here, not theta. This phi, and it is dB sin phi and dB sin phi 2 times, and cos phi gets cancelled. Please correct it. It is not theta, but it is phi. Let there be a circular loop of radius r carrying current I. Let P be a point at axial distance from the center of the coil as shown in the figure. The magnetic field at point P due to small element dl is given by dB is equal to mu naught over 4 pi into IDL sin phi divided by r square plus x square. This we have seen in the previous slide. Therefore, simplifying, we get mu naught I over 4 pi into Rx retaining, and we will analyze IDL. Therefore, integral dl into R divided by sin phi is, sin phi you see here, R divided by R is the opposite side by hypotenuse. R by R under root R square plus x square. Therefore, R square is equal to R square plus x square. Or integral dl will be is equal to 2 pi r. Substitute these two values in this equation. Let it be equation 1. Okay. Therefore, totally B will be, the magnetic field will be mu naught I over 4 pi into R divided by this R square plus x square plus R square plus x square to the half becomes 1.5, that is 3 by 2, combining these two, r over r square plus r square x square into 2 pi r. dl is 2 pi r. Therefore, B is equal to mu naught I r square divided by 2 into r square plus x square whole to the power of 3 by 2. This is equation 1. In the vector form, we can write it as vector B is equal to mu naught I r square 2 into x square plus r square into to the power of 3 by 2. Same, but only there will be a additional I hat telling that this will be in the direction of I. This is for a single loop of coil. If there are n number of loops, this term has to be multiplied by n. Therefore, B is equal to mu naught I into n. N is the number of turns. I square divided by 2 into x square plus r square whole to the power of 3 by 2. The direction of magnetic field due to closed loop wire current carrying is given by the right hand thumb rule. Please see that the direction of the magnetic field is given by the right hand thumb rule. Curl the palm to your right hand round the circular path. Pointing the curved fingers will show the direction of the current. The right hand thumb gives the direction of magnetic field. Thumb. Therefore, please note, thumb gives the direction of magnetic field and curled fingers give the direction of current. Fingers. Okay, this is the right hand rule. You see here, this is given. See, the thumb is pointing up. So that gives the direction of the field. This is the direction of the field. And fingers are turned like this. So current is turned like this. This is very important. You have to remember the direction is given by the thumb rule, right thumb rule, right thumb rule. Question number 6. Show that the current loop acts as a magnetic dipole. The previous question, that is the question number 5, was 5 marks question. In the question number 6 is a 3 mark question, which is based on the previous derivation of the previous equation. When we put x is far greater than this x, the distance of P is far greater than the r, the radius of the circular coil, the denominator r square becomes 0. Therefore, the denominator can be simplified as B is approximately equal to mu naught I r square into divided by 2x cube. This r square plus x square, if you put r square, x square to the power of 3 by 2 becomes x cube. That is equal to mu naught I into a divided by 2 pi x cube pi, where a is pi r square. If you put r square is equal to a by pi, you will get this equation. Therefore, for n number of turns, B is equal to mu naught ni a over 2 pi x cube. Put M, the magnetic dipole, as NIA. Therefore, multiplying and dividing by 2, we get B is approximately equal to mu naught 2M into 4 pi x cube. Similarly, if we compare with electrostatics equation for an electric dipole, which we have studied in chapter number 1, 2 and 3, we know we have got where we studied about the electric dipole. Its equation was given by E is equal to 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught into 2 PE. PE is an electric dipole at the equator region divided by x cube. So, we have just derived the equation for a magnetic dipole. This is M, magnetic dipole, and this is due to electric dipole. We have to compare where P is the electric dipole and M is the magnetic dipole. Dipole moment. Therefore, this shows that current carrying circular loop is equivalent to magnetic dipole. Explain how do you convert the moving coil galvanometer into an ammeter. Answer. A small resistance RS called shunt resistance is connected in parallel with galvanometer so that most of the current passes through the shunt. You see, this is we are converting. This is the normal galvanometer. G is the galvanometer and Rg is the resistance of the galvanometer. Now we have to convert this galvanometer into an ammeter. In order to convert galvanometer into ammeter, we have to connect a resistance R, shunt resistance, in parallel. You see, this is parallel to Rg. The resistance of this arrangement, because it is a parallel, 1 over Rg plus 1 over Rs is equal to, simplifying, we get Rg plus Rs divided by Rg Rs. Or the value of resistance will be reverse of that. The total resistance will be Rg Rs divided by Rg plus Rs. Therefore, R equivalent will be equal to Rg Rs divided by Rg plus Rs. That is approximately equal to Rs. This arrangement is calibrated to standard values of currents and hence we define current sensitivity of galvanometer as the direction per unit current. Phi by I is equal to NAB over K. Question number 7. Explain how do you convert moving coil galvanometer into an voltmeter. For this, the galvanometer. Previously, we converted galvanometer into an ammeter. In this case, we are converting into an voltmeter to measure voltages. The resistance of the voltmeter now is Rg plus R. See, previously same as this galvanometer and Rg, and in order to convert it as an voltmeter, we connect a resistance R in series. This is the external resistance R in series. Since R is far greater than Rg, Rg plus R is approximately equal to R. We define voltage sensitivity as the deflection per unit voltage. Therefore, phi by V is equal to NAB divided by K into I over V. Therefore, NAB over K into R. That is the voltage sensitivity of the galvanometer. Question. Obtain the expression for force per unit length of two parallel conductors carrying current and hence define 1 ampere. This is a 5 marks question. Please see the figure. In the figure, two conductors A and B are carrying currents IA and IB in the directions shown in the figure. D is the separation between these two conductors, and let us consider a length L of the conductor as shown in the diagram. The conductor A produces the same magnetic field BA at all points along the conductor B. According to Ampere's circuit law, BA is equal to mu naught. The conductor B carrying current IB will also experience a sideways force due to field BA. The direction of this force is towards the conductor A as shown here. toward FBA, the force on segment L of B due to A. So FBA is given by the relationship FBA is equal to IB, that is the current in conductor B, and length L, and BA into BA, the magnetic field due to conductor A. Therefore, FBA is given by IB into L, and we know BA is equal to mu naught IA divided by 2 pi d, as shown here as per the Ampere's circuital law. Therefore, substituting the value of BA, FBA is equal to IB into L into mu naught IA divided by 2 pi d, that is equal to mu naught IA IB into L divided by 2 pi d. Similarly, if FAB is the force on A due to B, then FBA is equal to minus FAB, because it is in the opposite direction. Therefore, the relationship expression becomes force F is equal to mu naught IA IB divided by 2 pi d into L. If we consider per unit length, then F has to be divided by L. Therefore, small f BA, that is equal to capital F by L, that is equal to mu naught IA IB divided by 2 pi R. Now, let us define 1 ampere. The ampere is the value of that steady current which, when maintained in each of the two very long straight parallel conductors of negligible cross section and placed 1 meter apart in vacuum, would produce on each of these conductors a force equal to 2 into 10 to the power of minus 7 newtons per meter length. This is the definition, that is, it is the value of steady current of in the two very long straight parallel conductors of negligible cross section and placed here D is equal to 1 meter in vacuum would produce on each of these conductors a force equal to 2 into 10 to the power of minus 7 newtons per meter length. Note, parallel wires carry currents in the same direction, attract each other. See, if the current carried is in the same direction, they attract each other. Whereas the parallel wires carrying currents in the opposite directions repel each other. This is next question. Derive an expression to magnetic dipole moment of a revolving electron in a hydrogen atom, and hence deduce Bohr's magneton. To understand the atomic magnetism, we have to note some of the important points. So let us go through these important points. An atomic orbital electron is in the state of orbital circular motion around the nucleus and behaves like a circular current carrying loop, due to which magnetism is produced at the nucleus. That is, this is the model of an electron. Electron revolves around the nucleus, and this is a circular motion around the nucleus, and it behaves like a circular current carrying loop. This orbital electrons behaves like a circular current carrying loop, due to which magnetism is produced at the nucleus. That is, magnetism is produced at the nucleus. This phenomenon is called atomic magnetism. Now, basic elements of atomic magnetism. Let us see. Let F be the frequency. Hence, the orbital current of this loop I is given by E into F. That is E by T. that is equal to E into omega by 2 pi. Omega, where omega is the angular velocity. That omega can be written as E into V, velocity, divided by 2 pi r. These are the fundamentals of velocity, angular velocity and the velocity of orbital electrons. So, magnetic induction at a nucleus position. As the circular orbit behaves like a current carrying loop, magnetic induction at nucleus position takes place, and this magnetic field is represented as Bn is equal to mu naught I divided by 2 pi r. Magnetic moment due to this is magnetic moment of circular orbit is given by the equation m is equal to Ia, where A is the radius area of the circle and it is given by A is equal to pi r square, area of the circle. Please see the figure. Here r is the radius and its area of the circle is pi r square. Now let us solve the problem. Relationship between magnetic moment and angular moment. There are two moments. One is magnetic moment and the other one is angular moment L. From the above, from this equation, m is equal to Ia. From this equation, m is equal to Ia. M is equal to Ia and that is equal to I is equal to EV by 2 pi r. This is the relationship here. So, pi r square, EV by 2 pi r into pi r square. So, this pi r gets cancelled. That becomes EVR by 2. So, this term becomes EVR by 2 when we cancel pi r. So, now multiply and divide this by a factor m. So, dividing numerator, multiplying and dividing, we get EVR by 2 into m by m. That is equal to, that we can write as E and divided by 2m, denominator as it is. The term mvr is equal to L. L is the angular momentum. So it is written because angular momentum L is equal to mvr. Therefore, this equation becomes m is equal to minus of El divided by 2m. For an orbital electron, both m and L are anti-parallel axial vectors. So m and this direction of sign of m and L, that is magnetic momentum and angular momentum, is opposite. Hence, we are writing this sign as negative. According to Bohr's theory, angular momentum of orbital electron is given by L is equal to nh by 2 pi. This is L is equal to nh by 2 pi, where n is the number of shells. That is first orbit, second orbit, and 1, 2, 3 like that. And h is the Planck's constant. So angular velocity is equal to n into Planck's constant divided by 2 pi. So this equation EL by 2m can be written as E into NH, substituting the value of L, E into NH divided by 2m into 2 pi. That becomes EH by 4 pi m. If we take n is equal to 1, when we take n is equal to 1, we get Bohr's magneton. So, for Bohr's magneton, we substitute the value of n as, we take the value of n as 1. Therefore, m is equal to EH by 4 pi m, and this is called Bohr's magneton, and for n is equal to 1, it is denoted by mu b. That is magnetic moment m. Bohr's magneton is defined as the magnetic moment of the orbital electron in the first orbit. You please note. the first orbit. Therefore, we can calculate the value of mu b by putting the values. That is, we have seen EH divided by 4pm. E is the charge of electron, and that is 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19. And the value of Planck's constant is 6.6 into 10 to the power of minus 34. 4 into pi is 3.14, and it is mass of electron is 9.1 into 10 to the power of minus 31. After simplifying, we get the value of Bohr's magnetic momentum as 0.23 divided by 10 to the power of minus 23 amps meter square. This is the required answer. Hence, these formulae for Bohr's magneton, mu b is equal to Eh by 4 pi m, and the value of mu b Bohr's magneton is mu b is equal to 0.923 into 10 to the power of minus 23 amps meter square. Now, having completed the main portion, we will take up multiple choice questions. Though the PU board has told that has indicated that there won't be any 1 mark question, we will solve multiple choice question, as the same are important for appearing for competitive examinations like NEET, JEE, CET and other examinations. Question number 1. In certain region of space, electric field E and magnetic field B are perpendicular to each other. An electron enters perpendicular to both fields and moves undeflected. The velocity of electron is, there are 4 choices. A is equal to answer A, E by B, B is B by E, C is vector E cross B, and D is E dot B. The correct answer is A. Question number 2. A deuteron of kinetic energy 50 kilo electron volts is describing a circular orbit of radius 0.5 meter in a plane perpendicular to the magnetic field. The kinetic energy of proton that describes the circular orbit of the same radius inside the same magnetic field is given by answer A 25 keV, B 50 keV, 200 keV and 100 keV. Correct answer is D. Question number 3. To convert a moving coil galvanometer into ammeter of a given range, we must connect option a suitable low resistance in series. Please note, it is galvanometer to ammeter. Here it should be parallel only. So, suitable low resistance in parallel, a suitable resistance in high resistance in parallel, and a suitable high resistance in series. Correct answer is B. That is low resistance in parallel. The diagram of the galvanometer is shown here. For answering the question, you need not draw, but this diagram is given for explanation purpose only. Question number 4. Two particles A and B with same charges and different masses MA and MB respectively are moving in a plane inside the uniform magnetic field which is perpendicular to the plane. The speed of the particles are VA and VB respectively, and trajectories are as shown in the figure. Please see the figure. The figure is shown here. The answers are given and the correct answer is B. Question number 5. A rectangular coil ABCD is placed near a long straight current carrying straight wire as shown. What is the net force on the rectangular coil? Please see the figure. Here the 2 amps current and the distance is 15 centimeter. 1 amp current is being circulated in the coil, rectangular coil. So Four options are given and the correct answer is A. Two wires of same length are shaped into a square and a circle. If they carry the same current, ratio of the magnetic moment is 2 is to pi, pi is to 2, pi is to 4 and 4 is to pi. The correct answer is C because m1 is to m2 is equal to a square into pi r square. Question number 7. Current sensitivity of a galvanometer can be increased by decreasing. There are four options and the correct answer is C. That is torsional constant K. Current sensitivity of galvanometer can be increased by decreasing the torsional constant. Question number 8. An electric current passes through a long straight copper wire at a distance 5 centimeters from straight wire. The magnetic field is B. The magnetic field at a distance of 20 centimeters from the straight wire would be. There are four options given and the correct answer is B, that is B by 4. We know B is inversely proportional to R. Therefore, B dash is equal to B by A. So, B into 5 divided by 20 is equal to B by 4 is the correct answer. Question number 9. A wire in the form of circular loop of 1 turn carrying a current produces magnetic induction B at the center. If the same wire is looped into a coil of 2 turns and carries the same current, the new value of magnetic induction at center is A, B, 2B, 4B and 8B. Correct answer is C, 4B. Because we know B is equal to mu naught I over 2R. So we are calculating B dash, that is equal to mu naught into 2I divided by 2 into R by 2. That is equal to 4B. Hence the correct answer is C. Question number 10. A circular coil of radius A carries a electric current. The magnetic field due to coil at a point on the axis of the coil located at a distance r from the center of the coil such that r is far greater than varies as 1 by r square, 1 by r cube and 1 over r to the power of 3 by 2. Correct answer is C, that is 1 by r cube. We know B is equal to approximately equal to mu naught I over r square over 2r cube. Question number 11. A solenoid has 1000 turns per meter length. If a current of 5 amps is flowing through it, then magnetic field inside the solenoid is. There are four options given and we have explained here also. The correct answer is 2 pi into 10 to the power of minus 3 Tesla. See, the calculations are given. You can calculate yourself by using the formula B is equal to mu naught N into I, where N is 1000 turns and mu naught is 4 pi into 10 to the power of minus 7 and current is 5 amps. Simplifying, we get 2 pi into 10 to the power of minus 3. Question number 12. Currents of 10 amps and 2 amps are flowing in opposite direction through two parallel wires A and B respectively. If the wire A is infinitely long and wire B is 2 meters long, then the force on wire B, which is situated at a 10 centimeter from A, is. These various options are given. You please calculate using the formula F is equal to mu naught I1 I2 divided by 2 pi r into L, where I1 is 10 amps and I2 is 2 amps and length is 2 meters and the distance is 1 meter. By substituting, we get answer as 8 into 10 to the power of minus 5 newtons. Question number 13. If the distance between two current carrying wires is doubled, then the force between them is halved, doubled, tripled, or quadruped? The correct answer is half, because B is inversely proportional to 1 over R. That is, B is proportional to 1 over R. Question number 14. Two thin long parallel wires separated by a distance D carry a current I in the same direction. They will attract each other. So long parallel wires separated by distance, current in the same direction. So they are attracted. So A, that is, they attract each other with a force mu naught I square. That is I square in the same direction. Question number 15. The coil of a moving coil galvanometer is wound over a metal frame in order to increase the sensitivity. Provide the electromagnetic damping. Arrangement provided damping to in the direction of eddy currents. In a moving coil galvanometer, a current in its coil produces deflection theta. Then I is proportional to theta, I is proportional to theta square. Four options are given. We know the A is the correct answer. That is, I is proportional to theta. Question 17. The ratio of voltage sensitivity and current sensitivity of a moving galvanometer is A 1 over G. Calculations are given. That is, voltage sensitivity is equal to current sensitivity divided by G. Therefore, Vs by Cs is equal to 1 over G. Question number 18. A 100-turn coil shown in the figure carries a current of 2 amps in magnetic field of the torque acting on the coil is 0.2 webers per meter square. So the four options are given. The correct answer is the torque. The torque we have to calculate using the formula tau is equal to NIAB into sin 90, where N is the number of turns 100, current is 2 amps given, and area is 8 centimeters. 8 centimeters into converting into the meters, we get 8 into area is 8 by 10. 8 into 10 divided by converting centimeter into meter, we get 100 into 100. So that will be 80 into 10 to the power of minus 4 into B is given 0.2 webers per meter. This value becomes 0.32 Newton meters. With this, we have completed multiple choice questions and we will take up completion type questions. The first question is, current sensitivity of a galvanometer can be increased by decreasing. Answer: torsional constant or restoring couple per unit twist. Question number 2. To convert galvanometer into a voltmeter of given range, the suitable high resistance should be connected in series. That is, R is equal to V divided by Is minus G. When a magnetic dipole of moment rotates freely about its axis from unstable equilibrium to a stable equilibrium in a magnetic field, the rotational kinetic energy gained by it is 2 mb. We have to calculate delta K is equal to delta U equals mb minus of minus mb. Question number 4. An electron passes undeflected when passes through a region with electric and magnetic field. When electric field is switched off, its path will change to circular path. Question number 5. The ratio of angular momentum L to magnetic moment m of an electron revolving in a circular orbit is m is equal to E over 2m into L. Question number 6. The path of charged particle moving perpendicularly with its dash width is dash. Path of charged particle will be circular. Question number 7. There is no change in dash a charged particle moving in a magnetic field, although the magnetic force is acting on it. Dash is we have to put. There is no change in the path, kinetic change in the kinetic energy when charged particle moves through a magnetic field. Question number 8. Two linear parallel conductors carrying currents in the opposite direction repel each other. Opposite direction. Question number 9. When a coil carrying current is set with its plane perpendicular to the direction of the magnetic field, then torque on the coil is 0. Question number 10. A linear conductor carrying current, if placed parallel to a magnetic field, it experiences no force. Question number 11. Electric current flows through the thick wire. Magnetic field at a point on its surface is given by the relationship B is equal to mu naught I over R and is 0 on its axis. Question number 12. Torque on a current carrying rectangular coil inside a galvanometer is maximum and constant irrespective of its orientation as it is suspended inside the radial magnetic field. True or false type questions. Two parallel wires carrying current in the same direction attract each other. Correct. The charge moves in the circle inside the magnetic field. The time period of the revolution is independent of the mass. This is false. Question number 3. Electron enters into magnetic field at an angle 60 degrees. Its path will be parabola. It is false. Question number 4. To convert a moving coil galvanometer into an ammeter of a given range, we must connect a suitable low resistance in parallel. Correct. Question number 5. A wire of length L carries a current I along the x-axis of a magnetic field exist given by the magnitude of magnetic force acting on the wire is true. The magnetic field due to a very long wire carrying a current decreases as the square of the distance from the wire. It is false. Magnetic field lines always form a closed loop. True. The resistance of a milliammeter is greater than the ammeter. True. Static charge is source of electric field but not of magnetic field. Correct. For magnetic field we need a moving charge. Question number 10. The net charge in a current carrying conductor is 0. Even then it experiences magnetic force when placed inside the magnetic field. True. Question number 11. When a current carrying rectangular loop is placed inside magnetic field, net force on it is always 0. True. Question number 12. The two linear parallel conductors carrying currents in opposite direction attract each other. False, because they repel each other. Question number 13. A solenoid tends to shrink when current passes through it. True. Question number 14. When a current carrying rectangular loop is placed inside the magnetic field, the net torque on it is always 0. That is false. Question number 15. The two linear parallel conductors carrying currents in the same direction attract each other. Matching type questions. For the path of a moving charged particle which enters perpendicularly inside, for the path moving charged particles which enters perpendicularly inside, in the uniform electric field is in the uniform magnetic field. That is, when a charged particle enters, uniform electric field is Q, that is parabola, and when it enters a uniform magnetic field, it is circle. Match the following. Magnetic moment, magnetic field. Magnetic moment is ampere meter square and magnetic field is Weber per meter square. Having studied the question and answer session of chapter number 4, let us recapitulate all the formulae which we have learned in this chapter. Formula number 1, Biot-Savart law, which states magnetic field due to current element. It is given by the formula dB is equal to mu naught over 4 pi into IDL sin theta by r square, where dB is the magnetic field, mu naught is the permeability of free space, I is the current through the element dl, and theta is the angle between dl and r is the radius. Formula number 2, force acting on a charge moving in a magnetic field. F magnetic, that is magnetic force, is given by Q into V cross B, that is cross product of velocity and magnetic field, and Q is the charge. It is also expressed as Q into V into B sin theta and n hat, where n hat is a unit vector in the direction of magnetic field. Question formula number 3. Magnetic field on the axis of a circular current loop, that is given by B is equal to mu naught into I into R square divided by 4 pi into R square plus X square whole to the power of 3 by 2. Formula number 4. Magnetic field for an infinite length of conductor, that is given by the formula B is equal to mu naught into I divided by 2 pi R. Formula number 5. Magnetic field at a point on the axis of a solenoid, that is given by the relationship B is equal to mu naught into N into I, where N is the number of turns on solenoid. Formula number 6. Motion of a charged particle in a uniform magnetic field. So the radius of the motion charged particle is given by R is equal to M divided by V into Q into B, and the period of motion is given by T is equal to 2 pi M divided by Q into B. Formula number 7. Torque on a rectangular coil in a uniform magnetic field. Torque is represented by the symbol tau. Tau is equal to N into B into I A sin theta, where N is the number of turns, B is the field in magnetic field, I is the current, and A is the cross section area of the coil. Sin theta is angle between the current element and the coil. Formula number 8. Force per unit length acting on each of the two straight parallel metallic conductors carrying a current I. Force per unit is represented by small f, that is capital F divided by L. L is the length of the conductor equals mu naught into I1, I2 divided by 2 pi r, where I1 is the current through element A and I2 is the current in the conductor B. Formula number 9. Deflection in a moving coil galvanometer. Deflection is proportional to the current I, and that is given by the relationship phi, that is deflection is equal to NAB divided by K into I, where N is the number of turns, A is the area of cross section, and B is the magnetic field divided by the constant, restoration constant, and I is the current. Formula number 10. Conversion of galvanometer into ammeter and voltmeter. You know, we can convert galvanometer either as an ammeter or as an voltmeter. For converting into a voltmeter, the relationship is given by V is equal to Ig into Rg plus R. That is, a series resistance is connected to convert galvanometer into an voltmeter. For converting it as an ammeter, it is given a parallel resistance Rp is connected, and Rp is also called a shunt resistance. Ip into Rp is equal to Ig into Rg. This is the relationship. Formula number 11. Magnetic dipole moment of a revolving electron. So magnetic dipole moment is represented by capital M, that is equal to EVR divided by 2, where E is the charge of an electron, V is the velocity of the electron, and R is the circular orbit. It can be represented as M is equal to N into EH divided by 4 pi into ME. Here N is the shell number in which the electron revolves. N is equal to 1 for Bohr's magneton. E is the charge of an electron, H is a Planck's constant, and ME is the mass of an electron.